Well, if you guys have been following the series on this thing, I finally finished putting this go-kart together. The things I had to finish up were throttle cable, the gas tank mount had to be put 100%, and I had to do something with the exhaust because the exhaust was like blowing on the frame and then like on the fuel lines. Kind of see that a little bit when we did the test run. But yeah, so I got everything on it finished. I got the throttle lever and everything on there. Let me grab you off the stand and then we'll show you guys what I did to this thing. So starting up front, we are using a kill switch. It is a GoPed kill switch. The first hole I drilled was too big, so the second hole I drilled was okay, and this one works. It actually grounds out and shuts the machine off. This is a throttle cable, or a throttle lever that someone actually gave to me with a weed whacker. So a friend of mine in Tennessee, his name's Brian, he found a weed whacker and he was working one day and the homeowner gave it to him. So this is it. It's actually got like a button on here. So if you go wide open, hit it, it's like a start position for the weed whacker. It only holds it at like quarter throttle. This is a Bigfoot GSR, they call it a super long throttle cable. Let me see. Grab it. I kept the paper for it because I want to make sure I get the exact same one again. Well, but I might get the shorter one. So this says it's the extra long 77.5 inch cable. It does stick out a little bit over the front, so I could probably go the standard Bigfoot cable and have it match the brake cable. I ran it underneath the chassis with the factory brake line. Let me see, get this thing up on its side. Using the factory clips. It just runs through a hole in the back there. And then in the back, you can see I take the cable and I go up high. And then I tie into the motor. I wanted to keep all of this as straight as possible because I don't want any kinks and this thing to bind up. I added an extra return spring. It doesn't really need it. The spring itself is pretty loose. Just because my kids ride this thing and they have a little bit of extra safety there. We got that hooked up. I'm using the factory kill switch wire. I just wrapped this around to clean it up and zip tied it in place for it to stay put. For the fuel tank, I had to get a little creative. So I didn't want to use GoPed spacers in here so I can keep those on my GoPeds. You can probably see over here, I actually have a nylon lock nut, a flat washer, and then same on top and bottom, nylon lock nuts on both sides. I had to weld a drop here to pick up that bolt on the bottom. I welded in a piece here to stop this from wiggling so much because that piece of steel is just flapping around and really shaking up fuel, which doesn't really matter if it gets shaken up, but this cap is just a cap I had laying around, so it doesn't have a seal or nothing in there, so all the extra vibration, we were spilling more fuel than we were using. But the gas tank, these are button head Allens, and I just have a flat washer on the backside, so it's good and solid. So let me get this thing down and figure out where I'm gonna put the GoPro on this because I haven't tried to film anything riding it yet. My kids have been tearing it up, and show you guys how it does. Oh, the exhaust, I made a bracket that just bolts to the bottom of the fan cover and welded it right to this exhaust tube. This exhaust tube, see if I can get you guys in here to look. If you look up here, it's got a bunch of square crap on it. That's actually where I cut this out of a sport frame. So I have a sport frame that I broke, and I cut the exhaust tube off of it. So where it's going into my muffler, and actually the muffler exhaust itself fits inside of that tube. I'm trying to get this camera where you guys can see that. So I just slid it inside, so the muffler exhaust is inside of this tube, and it's coming out the back here. I do need to get an air filter still. I am going to go the stock air box because this thing's annoying. I want to keep it to where my neighbors still like me. So yeah, but anyway, let's get this GoPro put somewhere and take this thing for a ride. All right, we got this thing out in the street. My street isn't very long. We'll probably do 1 or 2 laps and see how this thing does. really need to see how fast it goes. Because this thing's got a live axle in it, it doesn't let it take off if the wheels are turned. But let me get the app out. I had an ant on me. Oh, I gotta add. All right, everything's blank. Let's hope I don't drop my phone and see how fast this thing goes. Put it in my pocket unlocked. Hopefully it stays unlocked. This thing is so much fun. I'm way too big for it though. All right, let's see what we got. Top speed with me is 15.7. That's pretty sad. But I had my kids on it and they were doing 23 mile an hour. So 170 pounds isn't really enough for this thing. Well, cool. Well, I'm glad you guys got to see it run. Maybe I might put some more in this video. I don't know yet. Let me turn this off and get off of this thing. Well, there we have it. With 170 pounds, it only does 15 miles an hour. I'm obviously too big for it. Good thing my kids still fit in it. When I had the 8-year-old and the 2-year-old in it together, they did 23.5 mile an hour downhill. So that was pretty good for them. That's probably about all they needed. But my only concern now is with this thing is they got a lot of Chinese stuff on here, like carrier bearings for the axle are Chinese. These bearings for the jack shaft are also Chinese. So, and the chain is probably Chinese also, for all Chinese stuff. The next question is like, how long is that stuff actually going to last on this? Because I believe the specs, these only did 8 or 9 mile an hour from the factory and they're electric. And now we're doing more than double that. At least the kids are, I'm not. So yeah, there's that. And with them in it, the ground clearance isn't not an issue. With me in it, the engine is resting against this all the time. So I shouldn't even be in this thing unless I have like better suspension or I make it rigid. But anyway, I think that's where we are. If I do anything else to it besides put an air cleaner on it, I'll be sure to record it. I do have another go-kart project that's going to get another 2-stroke engine, but it's not going to be a little 2-stroke engine. And that's going to be coming up here next. I got to figure all that out, how to make it work before I even start filming that. So I'll see you guys here in a little bit, and hopefully I get all this edited in time. And yeah, if there's anything we need to bring back, I know I got that engine up on the shelf that we used to run a bunch of those weird fuels in. I probably should dig that back down here soon. But yeah, I'll see you guys here shortly in the next video.